Good evening, I'm Kurt Gutgsell. Today was the first day high school sports practices were allowed to begin here in the state of Indiana. We're checking in with the boys soccer Wildcats and head coach Kyle Kendall. The Wildcats, along with a lot of other fall sports teams, had a very weird preseason with all the COVID-19 protocols. Coach Kendall on how the soccer Wildcats navigated that landscape.
The biggest thing is we lost a month for the most part. You know, you lose a month of off-season training and conditioning, getting to know the kids. But we made the most out of July and got out here 2 nights a week working on soccer and then 2 nights a week of conditioning.
Every team's different as you begin a season. You lose guys, you bring guys back. What are going to be the biggest points of emphasis in the training camp portion of your practices this fall?
This is a different team. We had a couple of guys last year that were game changers. You know, Jackson Cabrick isn't going to get replaced overnight. Brian Elizaris the same way. Guys that could just go make a big play when you needed it. And I don't know that we have identified who those players are yet on this team, but it may be more of a spread out offense, a little getting goals from different sources, and a guy here and a guy there versus having a couple guys that we can just go to the well and we know we're going to get goals from those guys every day. But I think it's going to be a younger team than what we've had the last couple of years. We've got some sophomores and a couple of freshmen that have really showed up playing good soccer this summer. They're going to push some of these older guys.
How important is these 10 days of camp?
It is so important, especially when, like you said, you graduate 7, 8 kids, 9 kids I think it was, and then an exchange student. We lost a lot of experience. And even with working out through the summer, you might, with these voluntary practices, you might have 30 out of the 40 kids that are showing up. To have all 40 kids show up this morning and really start to see how they mesh together and who fits well, we'll be working our tails off for the next 10 days trying to figure out who that is and where we fit together to go into that first game at Seymour.
How does moving into the SIAC impact your program?
It's one of those things. We've played the best teams in Evansville for the last 20 years. We've always played Memorial, We've always played Castle, we've always played Harrison, and playing in that sectional down there, we've gotten to see Wrights the last couple of years, even though they weren't on the regular schedule. So really, we only dropped 3 teams and picked up 3 teams. The rest of the SIAC was already on our schedule, so those are teams we compete with. That Memorial game was always interesting anyway. It'll be even more interesting now that it is a conference game. We'll miss the Washington game being such a big conference game, but we're going to try to do something to make that a little more special as a rivalry game as well, because that's the one holdover from the Big 8 that we'll definitely keep on the schedule.
Another year for you. How excited are you personally?
I tell you what, I joked last night, this is year 20 on the high school staff, 5 years as JV and my 15th, but I think it's one of those things where it's such a different season. Yeah. I've had a lot of turnover in my coaching staff, so I've got some young coaches and some guys I've coached. Right. And, it's much different than the staff I was out here with 5 years ago, but we're still having fun. I still get excited every day, and if I'm not, then I've been here too long. So.
Elsewhere, baseball tonight, the Reds back home at Great American Ballpark after their weekend series in Detroit. They won 2 yesterday in the Motor City. They take on in-state rival Cleveland. Sonny Gray will go for the Reds tonight. He will be opposed by Zach Plesac. Cubs at home at Wrigley taking on the Kansas City Royals. Danny Duffy for the Royals. The Northsiders counter with Alec Mills. The Cardinals idle tonight. They start a series hopefully in Detroit tomorrow against the Tigers. The Cardinals had their weekend set with the Brewers postponed due to COVID-19. On the track yesterday, Brad Keselowski picked up the win in the NASCAR race at New Hampshire. On the links, Justin Thomas, the Louisville native, won the PGA Tour event, the St. Jude's Classic down in Memphis. This week, it's golf's first major. It's the PGA Championship at TPC Harding Park in San Francisco. With the Jasper Soccer Wildcats, I'm Kurt Gutgsell. Stay tuned. We'll have more WJTS 18 news right after this.